Y'all, I finally finished Italian Neighbors. The author himself, Tim Parks, calls this book an arrival book rather than like a travel book. And that's a good way to put it. This book, Italian Neighbors, I don't know why I'm qualifying everything. Italian Neighbors is about Tim and Rita Parks' first year, approximately, in a small town in Italy. They're originally from England and then they moved to Italy, I think for work. It's been so long since I read the beginning of this book. If you've been keeping up, I have been reading this book for a very long time. I started it a couple summers ago and then kind of fell off for a while, and then started it again last summer and then didn't make a lot of progress. And so this winter, actually not even this winter, the beginning of this year, like in January, I said I have to finish this book. And it is now February, which is dating this. I always date my videos. I don't know when this review will come out, probably not till March or maybe even April. Hopefully in March. I think I'm catching up. But anyway, all that to say, it's been a long time. But that's not because I didn't enjoy the book. It's just a little bit difficult to get through sometimes. Some of the chapters are more interesting than other chapters. Some of them focus heavily on description or on politics or legal rules or something that I was not as interested in, and so it made reading feel a lot longer. I will say I love that the chapters are so short. They're usually only a few pages, so it was easy for me to just sit down and say, okay, I have to read a chapter right now. And I would usually end up reading a couple because it is interesting, it is fun, but definitely one that I had to take my time with. I couldn't just race through this. I think it would have definitely been better if I had not taken such a long break between the first few chapters and then the end of it, because Tim Parks does go through and reference like everything throughout it. Each chapter is about a different Italian phrase or an idiosyncrasy in the town or a specific person, and then Tim Parks goes through and references that throughout the entire book. So he sets up the beginning talking about the Italians' coffee habits and continues to reference that all the way throughout. Or he talks about Giampaolo and different things that Giampaolo says or does, and then again throughout the entire book is referencing that. So it's very well done and very well woven together. And it is interesting. It has that dry English humor, which I do love. So that's very fun to read through and look for. And all of Tim Parks' neighbors are such characters. They're very interesting. And they're probably caricaturized a little bit more than, like they're not quite as real as they would have been, I'm assuming. But they are very interesting people, so it was a lot of fun to read through. And I have a few places that I tabbed and I highlighted a few things, so it was interesting, just not generally the kind of book I gravitate towards. So it took me a little bit longer to get through. But that's not to say anything bad about it, it's just not my type of book usually. That being said, I would still give it 4 out of 5 stars. The writing is really good. It's not a novel, so it's not meant to have like a narrative throughout it, but it still does have a very interesting narrative. Like the way that it all wraps up and concludes is very satisfying, especially for a travel book or an arrival book, as Tim Parks calls it, because it could have just ended anywhere. It could have gone on for way too long or something, but it is a little over a year in Italy, and I don't really want to give away how it ends. Not that it matters too much. It's not really a spoiler because again, it's not a novel, but it is very sweet. Like it wraps up really well and like ties everything together, and that was the perfect place to end his journey, at least in this novel. Tim and his wife did live in Italy for at least a few more years, because in the afterword he talks about his next like 5 years in Italy and how it finally feels like home. So I don't know how long Tim and his wife Rita ended up staying in Italy. Maybe they're still living there, I don't know, maybe that's their forever home, but at least 4 or 5 more years. And I guess that's really all that I have to say about it. I feel like that was so rambly and disconnected, and I don't know. Hopefully it was still helpful. Hopefully y'all got something out of that review. And if you're looking for a good travel book, a good arrival book, then I would recommend Italian Neighbors. Again, it's well written and it is interesting, and it's a bit humorous with that English dry humor and with the characters being so funny, the people in it. So if you're looking for Or if you're interested in Italy at all, there is so much information in this book about Italy, especially small town Italy. So if you're at all interested in Italy, if you're looking for a nonfiction book that's interesting or like some sort of travel book, I would recommend Italian Neighbors. And I'm just gonna wrap this video up here. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And comment down below if you read any sort of travel books. Do you have any that you'd recommend? I should probably read Robert Louis Stevenson's travel logs just because I tend to like his novels so much, but I don't think that his travel logs are the best or most interesting or most well written. So yeah, maybe a different travel log would be good. And that's it for the video. So I will see you in the next one. Have a blessed day, everyone. Bye-bye.